Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm saying everyone, I'm hoping people are still listening to me at this stage of the week after the number of podcasts that have come out. So we are at podcast number 4, keeping in line with Mental Health Awareness Week, the theme being kindness. And I am so excited this afternoon to be joined by our lovely head of finance, Andre Betha. Hi, Andre.
Hi, I'm glad to be on Radio Woosh.
People have said my career is wasted in HR. I should be taking a role as the next Oprah Winfrey.
Wow, if you
I,
keep going like this,
well,
the
that's
dream
not.
might come true. No, it's good. It's good to be here.
Thank you. Now, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. So this afternoon we'll be chatting with Andre about all things mental health and hopefully have a good chat. But Andre, I've been asking other guests that have joined these podcasts, and I'll ask you, well, why is mental health important? And I guess why is mental health, so important for you?
Mental health is important for me because I've learned in my time, in my professional life and personally, that irrespective of the person's personal circumstances, whether they have finance or they don't have finance, whether they are physically fit or not, mental health is a component, a very important component in our well-being, and can often lead to some serious difficulties for people. And so it's important that we are in the right frame of mind, and that actually we look after our mental health.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you're right, that is such a key component, that financial, that financial remit, I guess, to your mental health and well-being. Lots and lots of studies, I think, in the last few years, definitely around the importance of that, and appreciating, like you said, mentioning the differences between different people. So great points there. Um, I guess it's interesting. You're our first central functions guest. So
Yep.
I've spoken to lots of people across the operations around, kind of what their challenges have been in an operational setting. But I guess it'd be great to hear from a central functions. I'm a comrade in the central functions team, but it'd be great to just give us an idea of the challenges that you and your teams, I guess, have experienced during this time and this unprecedented time of lockdown.
Yeah.
What's that felt like for you and your
Yeah.
team?
Of course, we've had some technical difficulties in terms of connecting, and I guess the whole world. So buzzword is your the quality of your broadband, etc. And so we've
Yep.
had some technical difficulties, making sure everyone has the equipment that they need. And even where people think they have the equipment that they need, talking to them and sometimes giving them something that they don't think they need, and then when they have it, they think, "Wow, this has improved my life." Also, as a manager, I've realized that um, some people don't know how to work from home. And so we can't take it for granted that everyone knows how to work from home, because it takes some planning as well,
Yeah.
in terms of management. Sometimes your environment, or everyone's environment at home is different. When you are working in an office, the office environment is conducive to you working. You're around people that everyone's got their heads down,
Yeah.
and of course getting on with it. But with the varying situation that everyone faces at within their homes,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
one has to just be aware of that and try and support people where possible. So one of the difficulties with managing a team is when you're working next to someone, you
Yeah.
can often
Yeah.
get sort of indications that things are not going well, or that they may be having an issue
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
particular task. Now, the difficulty during this particular period is that someone could be not be okay, and also we're relying on people to put their hands up and say, actually, I'm struggling. So we do need to spend a bit more time with people to try and use other skills other than just
Yeah.
seeing people, to see where our teams are at, so that we can get the best out of everyone, but also look after people in the best way possible. So as a team, what we've when we do get together, I try and sort of speak to people and
Yeah.
just to try and get an understanding of where everyone is. So I guess the biggest challenge has been sort of the people aspect. So because the technical
Yeah.
stuff, like computers, and you can get people a computer,
Yeah.
but maintaining team spirit, team morale,
Yeah. Yeah.
and of course ensuring that we all, as a central office function, continue to contribute to providing the service that our frontline teams deserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
That takes continued nurturing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Here, I think some of those points certainly feel what you're saying and feel your pain around the trials and tribulations of managing a team. I've spoken to a lot of central functions
Yeah,
colleagues recently, and they give that same feedback. I think we all feel it. You know, the coffee chats and the going into the kitchen and just bumping into someone and having that chat and poking your head up above the desk and you know that you have people sat across from you that you can answer those questions. It's,
yeah,
it's those little nuances I think that we take for granted. I think, well,
yeah,
obviously probably not anymore, but we have probably taken for granted that is how do we maintain that sense of community through this time.
yeah. And don't forget, we are all different as human beings.
Yeah.
There are some people that are celebrating because they work best when there's nobody around, and then there are others that work best when they've got people around.
Yeah.
And it's the same for, to some extent, our children as well. Some enjoy this time, and others are not doing so well because they thrive on that interaction with their colleagues. So yes, it's no different for in the office. And I guess a challenge for us is understanding in each one of the teams what it is that we need, and
Yeah.
what sort of team we have, and then trying to address the any sort of shortcomings there. I'm very lucky as a manager. I've got an established team. I guess the finance function is a well-oiled machine to some
Yeah. Yeah.
extent, and everyone knows what they need to do, and it's very easy to see where things are not as they should be. So
Yeah.
so very fortunate in that regard.
No, that sounds it, and like you say, I think it's great that you've given that's the perspective of get to know your team. I think that's coming through from a lot of what you said, which is, like you say, there are some people that really need that social interaction, and there'll be some people that work, and I think that comes into your personality profile as well. Extroverts normally will thrive on the energy around them. That's how they get their energy, their sense of purpose. And then you have introverts, who get their energy from within. And I think it's about understanding who's in your team that
Yeah,
that that who needs that help and support. So that's really, really great. And we touched
absolutely.
on financial well-being. I guess what
Yeah.
is good financial well-being, Andre? For anyone listening in, why is that important to mental health?
Well, because finances play such an important role in our lives. I wish that
Yeah,
if things are, it can lead to stress, etc. And one of the if there could be a good thing about this time that we're going into now, is that this particular season that what we find ourselves in as a community
yeah,
is that it's provided us with an opportunity to look at our mental health, so I'm just going back to that, but in terms of you're able to take a walk, you're able to
yeah,
do those things that help you to de-stress,
yeah,
etc.
yeah,
But it also has given us an opportunity to clear out those financial cobwebs as well. And for some of us, we don't have to travel in, so we may
yeah,
be saving a bit of money in some ways. We're not going out anymore, so that might be an opportunity. This particular time for us to create a bit of breathing space around our finances and improve our well-being in the long term. We are very fortunate in Phoenix that all of us are secure to where our money is going to come from at the end of the month, and so therefore, that helps to improve this very important area in our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think you mentioned the good, the position that we're in at Phoenix, and looking, certainly speaking to family and friends, and having people furloughed, or worse, redundancies,
Yes.
jobs that are being lost. It's comforting to take solace in that fact. I think absolutely. Some great points there around financial well-being. What we will do, just for those that are listening, is we'll also provide some links to financial well-being support that we can see online, just in case anyone wants to get some additional information on how to what that looks like. So please
Mhm.
look out for those links. Finally, um I guess, if there was people listening into this, I'm hoping people listening to this, that what would be that one kind of key piece of advice, Andre, that you would give? I guess, what would be that one nugget that you think would be worth sharing with people listening to this podcast?
Which people? People,
uh, it could
central
be,
office staff,
yeah,
or?
yeah, okay, particularly, yeah, central function staff then in particular.
Mhm. Yeah, for central staff, it would be the same as what I would say to my team, which is the finance department, is that we work for a fantastic organization, fantastic people, and we do some brilliant work. And I've always seen our role as proactive in looking for ways in which to improve the service that we deliver for our colleagues in the front line. And that's the way we do our bit. And so this is an opportunity for us to, upskill ourselves, to look at what is it that we can do? What is it that the organization will need in the future? How can I find maybe new technology, or new ways of doing things that will improve or make life easier for our colleagues, given the current situation. So the one piece of advice is keep looking forward, looking at how you can contribute to this great organization, and to improve things for our colleagues on the front line.
Great. That is very, very powerful and inspiring words, I think, to wrap up today's podcast. Thank you so much, Andre, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for listening. Stay tuned for our final podcast tomorrow. And as always, stay safe. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Wish. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.